There are many ways that the Cowboys can configure the 2023 offensive line, and they might be about to make a big mistake in that area. And tonight, we will look into every potential offensive line lineup, and we might use index cards. Just a warning for everybody on the show. We also have the stat of the week coming up and some Canton comparisons to some of the top Cowboys draft prospects as well. So without any further ado, welcome into the show. Do me a favor and hit the like button, share the stream, and let's get it started. Here we go. What is up, everybody, and welcome into A to Z Sports Dallas Primetime. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network with a lot more content coming your way. Make sure that you check out a2zsports.com/Dallas. And as always, remember that Primetime is brought to you by our friends over at freemanmazda.net. We will talk more about them and the ride of the week in a few moments here on the show. But before we do any of that, though, we're going to have a conversation that I've been thinking about having for a long time, and it's all about the offensive line because the Cowboys have stirred the pot quite a bit among fans regarding the offensive line because there are too many questions out there. Where will Tyron Smith line up? What will happen with Terence Steele, and why the heck are you talking about him being a backup? And what about Tyron Smith? Is he really changing positions permanently or not? And of course, will you draft somebody else? Tyron versus Terence Steele coming up too, so stay tuned for that. So I'm excited about the show and how I want to look at the offensive line this time around. I didn't want to use graphics. I wanted to use with a more hands-on approach. And I know some of you are going to make fun of the show because it might be, we have a running joke here about bad graphics. Wait until you see what I have in store for you. Bruce says, I don't know, Mo. There was a lot of controversy the last time an index card was associated with the Cowboys. Yeah, I remember that. The Raiders game. Yeah. Toxic Tom says, is this a new mic? No, not really new. I just don't use it too much, this headset. But since we're gonna be using index cards, hey, I won't hold the surprise for you anymore. We're gonna do not make fun of me. This is the best possible way that I think we can figure out how the offensive line is gonna be set up when it is all said and done. So we're going to use index cards tonight here on the show. Let me know in the chat just to get things started. Where do you think, what is your prediction? Where does Tyron Smith line up as a starter in 2023? Shout out to Kenny Jackson. He's enjoying the show. He's being a fanboy over here saying, speak English, MFer. Shout out to all of you who are able to understand what I'm saying. I also speak Spanish here for Bruce, though. Feliz cumpleaños, Mao. Thank you to you, sir. I probably did steal them from my 6th grade class. Yeah, I probably did, not gonna lie. The chat is saying left tackle for Tino Santiago. Gregory goes with left tackle as well. Brandon coming in with left tackle too. Dallas Cowboy, though, 92, goes with left guard. Mark Aaron with left tackle. Yes, sir. Shout out to the chat, man. We're just having fun out here, yeah. Some of the comments in there are crazy right now. But hey, let's get serious here. I wanted to use this index cards thingy just because, first of all, they're new, and I'm kind of nerdy. You know that. You can wipe this off with water, and they're reusable, so I'm excited about using them. But I think that Tyron Smith plays left tackle as well, and I think that's actually pretty locked in right now. I don't think that we're going to see any sort of change on that front. And I was surprised at that because I expected Tyron Smith to be a possibility at left guard. Because if you want to get your best group of five out there, then it probably, with what you have right now, it probably would have to look something like this. This is my best group of five that I could come up with, right? I would put Terence Steele at right tackle, and then I would put Tyron Smith at left tackle with Tyler Manning left guard. This is why I wanted to use the flashcards here so we can move around all of these pieces. This to me is the best group of five that you can get on the field if a game were to be played tomorrow. But Tyron Smith over here has injury concerns, and a lot of people know about those already. Tyler appears to be the future at left tackle, so the Cowboys are seemingly saying, you know what? Screw it. Tyler is our new left tackle, whatever happens. Heck, I don't know what we're going to do with right tackle. What are we going to do with left guard? We don't care. Lock in Tyler Smith at left tackle. Let's not mess up with his development any longer. That, in my opinion, seems to be the way the Cowboys are approaching things as of today. Based on what, Mo? Based on what do you say that? Jerry Jones went out there during the NFL owner meetings, and he essentially said, Terence Steele is a swing tackle. Why would he be the swing tackle? Because Tyron Smith is playing at right tackle. And as long as that is the case, as long as Tyron is not competing to be your blind side tackle, that means it's Tyler, period. And then Mike McCarthy joined the conversation by suggesting that the Cowboys could look at Terence Steele moving inside. That to me also means, on a similar note, that Tyron is the right tackle for now, which is a surprise to me. We'll get into that discussion later here as well. But if Tyler is locked in and you're looking at Terence Steele potentially playing at left guard over here, man, that's a surprise. You know why? Let's just get started with this. Terence Steele has 0 snaps at guard in his career. As you guys might remember, he arrived in Dallas as an undrafted free agent in 2020. Didn't look pretty back then, but he has certainly developed into a pretty nice tackle for the Cowboys. And now you're going to move him not only to guard, but you're going to ask him to move from the right side to the left side. Seems a little bit bold to me, in my opinion. Now, here's where it's really going to get interesting. And we'll get into the Freeman Mazda stat of the week very shortly here, but not before I read some of the comments here, because I know you guys are making fun of my index cards. I know, but hey, listen, handwriting, and I know this is not drawing, but like sketches maybe. I mean, look at the effect right here. Look at the effect in the way that they're filled out. Actually, don't look at it. Nah, don't look into the details, because then it's going to look unprofessional. Let's see here. Toxic Tom says, I bet Stephen Jones uses note cards to game plan too. I love that not only does Stephen Jones use the note cards, he's involved in the game planning as well. Tyler Browning says, oh, Mo got the expensive flashcards for his 16th birthday. Man, if this is your first time watching Primetime and you are tuning into the show right now, you are 100% going to believe that it is my birthday, that I am 16 years old, and you're going to be very confused about why we're using index cards today. So I appreciate you joining the show, of course. Make sure that you subscribe. We are live every Sunday through Thursday night, and every once in a while, we have what we should come up with a name for these graphics, man, because it's not the first time that I've used drawings to get my point across. Tino Santiago says, Steele is our starting right tackle when he is healthy, and Tyron will play right tackle until Sky's cousin Steele comes back. Steele inside, says Mark Aaron, is just so teams will think that we won't draft a guard high. And man, I don't dismiss that possibility at all, because it's smokescreen season. But it's kind of weird if you're throwing out that type of smoke screens when you own the 26th overall pick of the NFL draft. That's kind of a weird thing in my opinion. Kind of unnecessary is the right word for that. Toxic Tom says, Mo, I am surprised that you can afford the table to put the cards on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I had to use the cards. You guys know that I had to. I literally did not have a choice. But, anyways, now the question here becomes, what are you doing over here at right tackle? Why is Tyron Smith playing there instead of Tyron Smith? And yeah, you probably would have like a Boyd here at left guard. I'll give you that. We'll get to that later. But let's get into the Freeman Mazda stat of the week to see if this over here, if this makes sense. Why are you pushing allegedly based on your comments? Because I will acknowledge that possibility that we have also discussed here on the show about the Cowboys maybe using this as a huge smokescreen. But does this make sense? Does it make sense to push Terence Steele out of things to leave Tyron Smith in there? We're going to have to look at the Freeman Mazda stat of the week to really get confirmation on that. So let's not waste any more time and let's get into the Freeman Mazda stat of the week, brought to you as always by our friends over at freemanmazda.net. Does it make sense to move Tyron Smith to right tackle and consider Terence Steele at left guard? Does it make sense? Let's look at the Freeman Mazda stat of the week. Spoiler alert, it's two of them. Terence Steele was the sixth best graded tackle in run blocking grade by Pro Football Focus. Now, I know what you're thinking. Man, that is a subjective stat. And it is, because it's a grade after all. But if you look at rushing yards per attempt, rushing yards per game after Terence Steele went out because of injury, all of those went downward for the Cowboys. And Tyron Smith's run blocking rate was not pretty, even in limited playing time. He was 117th in the NFL if you take away the qualifying filters, which might make things a little bit messy because he didn't play that much. But here's the point. Tyron was not playing his position, and I know that he might get a full offseason of work at a new spot, but I don't know if that will change things a lot. I just don't think that it is the dominant version of Tyron Smith that we have grown to love and respect. I don't think he's that dude at right tackle, and it's not his fault or anything like that. It's just not his original position. And now one of the big arguments for this, for moving Tyron Smith to right tackle, is the pass pro aspect of things. I don't know when we all kind of started acting like Terence Steele didn't work in pass pro, because he actually had a better pressure rate allowed than Tyron Smith, and that's the second part of the Freeman Mazda stat of the week. Steele allowed 4.5%, allowed pressures on 4.5% of his pass blocking snaps per Pro Football Focus. Tyron Smith allowed him 4.7. Now, I'm not saying that because of that number, Tyron Smith is worse than Terence Steele necessarily in pass pro, because that is a minimal difference, pretty much non-existent. But I'm saying, man, that is a good number if you are Terence Steele. It actually will rank pretty well across the league among starting right tackles. 4.5% pressure rate has to be acceptable. There might be some issues there in terms of sacks allowed. I will grant you that. But also, we know how volatile sacks are, and we know how pressures will often tell the truth more often than sacks will. So I'm not going to act like Terence Steele sucks at pass protection, and I'm not going to act like that is good enough information for us to really assume that the decision is the correct one to move Terence Steele from his position. So my question from me to you after the Freeman Mazda stat of the week is the following one. Do you think that Terence Steele should be the right tackle of the 2023 Dallas Cowboys? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat. And while you do that, let's talk about the guys that make this show possible and this segment possible. Our friends over at freemanmazda.net. You can check out the ride of the week on the website. We'll also talk about it, but also check out their car dealership over at Irving, Texas. You can also visit their website over at freemanmazda.net, and in it, you can browse their wide range of new and used vehicles, as well as the features of every car, pictures of the outside and inside of every vehicle. And as we do around this time, it's time to cover the Freeman Mazda Ride of the Week, starting at $33,675. The 2023 Mazda CX-5 2.5S premium all-wheel drive. It's got all-wheel drive features, Apple CarPlay / Android Auto, a game-changing Wi-Fi hotspot, adaptive cruise control, parking sensors and assist, and a sunroof. With a fuel economy of up to 30 miles per gallon in the highway, 24 miles per gallon in the city. Make sure that you check out the Freeman Mazda Ride of the Week. Let's see some of your answers here. Who should be the right tackle of the Cowboys? Should it be Terence Steele? Yes or no? Let's see here what you guys have to say. Yes for Gregory. Stubby goes with yes to Steele. Steele, yes sir, says Mark Aaron. Toxic Tom says pending health, a resounding yes. Joey Vela, though, surprisingly goes with swing tackle. Jackie goes with yes, sir. Let's see here. Who else do we have here? Catherine says, of course, right tackle all day, says Brian over at Facebook. Ines also goes with the yes. So pretty much the consensus in the comments is yes to Terence Steele. That would leave us back to the high-end graphics here. That would leave us with the following proposed offensive line for Dallas. That is the issue. Tyron would essentially be your swing tackle. We don't know where he would play. Let me put him over here. And as of today, before the NFL draft, Chuma is probably your left guard. Recently signed. The Cowboys wanted to trade for him last year. I've seen some of his tape. Not enough to give you a full scouting report. But I think he can survive in the NFL. I don't think that he's a Pro Bowler type player or anything like that. But I don't think that you're in a scenario in which, I must draft no matter what an inside offensive lineman with the 26th overall pick. I don't think this gives you that. However, as of right now, here is my bet based on what the Cowboys have said. I think this is your week 1 offensive line. I think this is a rookie. That would probably be my bet at this point. We'll see. We'll find out. But watch out for Chuma. I think that he is a surprise character in this whole thing because this might be your offensive line, be it Tyron Smith or maybe Terence Steele. That might be the potential starting offensive line for the Cowboys. I think those are the potential combinations that you might see. I don't know that anything else. I'm not sure if anything else is on the table here. I don't know if there's another potential lineup that we could bring up here, unless you draft maybe a tackle, something like that, somebody to play right tackle while Terence Steele comes back or something like that. But even that would be very risky. I think the combinations that we went through on this show are pretty much all of the combinations that you could get. Let's see what you guys have to say. Mafi maybe, says Mark Aaron. Hey, shout out to Tyler. I know that he's watching the show right now, or at least he was a few moments ago. Antonio Mafi is our guy. Antonio Mafi in day 3 of the NFL draft will have me jumping around the living room. The prospect out of UCLA, fun player, fun, violent player, looks for work, looks to bury some people on the ground, finisher, great player. Looking forward to seeing him in space in the NFL. All kidding aside, though, even though I'm excited about Antonio Mafi as a prospect, I wouldn't be confident with him as a starter, obviously. Not there, maybe, not there yet. Tyler agrees from my conversations with him. Not a great pass protector at this point. I'm not going to read Mark's comment, but I understand where he's coming from. Russell says that they say that Terence Steele is way ahead of the schedule for being ready. Yeah, they've said that publicly. I don't know how much to make out of that, though. Duke Manyweather, though, posted this video in which Terence Steele is working on, getting out of his stance, not wearing a knee brace or anything like that. So that might be promising at least. Let's keep an eye out on that. But that will be it for the offensive line stuff here. Let's move forward a little bit here with the show. We're going to get into some comparisons made by Pro Football Focus. Michael Renner from PFF.com put together an article comparing some of the first-round prospects to former players. And wouldn't you know it, we had a comparison to a future Cowboys Hall of Famer. And we also had one potential prospect for Dallas and one of the most discussed targets for Dallas being compared to a Hall of Fame running back. So you already know who I'm talking about. Maybe not the player that he's being compared to, but the prospect. Let's dive into it right now. I want to get your thoughts on this. Michael Mayer being compared to Jason Witten. Let me read the quote from Renner here really quickly. A brute in the run game who can make a living giving linebackers a slight shove to create a yard of separation on a quick out is what you're getting in Mayer. And it's what Witten made a living on. They both even have a shuffly running style where they don't quite pick their legs up. That is a comparison for Jason Witten. Michael Mayer, who we discussed at length yesterday because he was the pick on Todd McShay's mock draft. Getting around to the idea of Mayer, not going to lie to you. Getting around to the idea, I know positional value is a question there, but I would feel good about that pick. Bijan Robinson, in the meantime, being compared to Edgerrin James, the Hall of Famer from the Colts. Here is a quote from Renner. When a prospect is one of one, like Robinson, and he's on tape at Texas, you have to reach way back into the annals of NFL history for a comparison. Robinson's unique traits are his contact balance and the depth that he gets when sinking in his cuts. He is at a 45-degree angle on some of this. And he compares him to James because of the cuts, actually, later in the article. You can check that out over at PFF. My question, though, from me to you before we get out of here is, who would you rather have between these two guys? If these were the only two prospects on the board, everybody else said, we don't want to be draft eligible anymore. They canceled the rest of the prospects. Who would you want? Michael Mayer or Edgerrin James? Let me know in the chat. Not Edgerrin James. I'm sorry. Bijan Robinson. Who would you rather have? Let's get it in writing here right now. Because that's a tough question, man. That is a tough question in the sense that Robinson, to many, is kind of a question mark because of positional value. But then if you put it head-to-head against a tight end, I might lean Bijan. I might lean Bijan Robinson here. Because you're not getting that pick wrong. Right? Especially in a tight end heavy draft. So I'm going to go with the Texas Longhorn in this scenario. And I'm making it up, by the way. Just talking about the players that are getting comparisons to Hall of Famers. I mean, Jason Witten is a future Hall of Famer. What is the first year that he's eligible in, by the way? Someone smarter than me that has more index cards than me, do the math for me, please. When is the first year that Jason Witten is eligible for Canton? Because I know it's 5 years, but I'm blanking on when did he retire? Was it 2020? After 2020, did he retire? Or did he play the 2020 season? I don't remember. With the whole retiring, returning, playing in Vegas one year, I'm kind of like confused right now. So let's see. Everyone's leaning Villan, though. Gregory goes with Robinson. Toxic Tom says Villan, his player comparison is Ryan Nall. Mark Aaron says, is a pick for me. Draft Villan and get a tight end later. Yeah, it is excuse me. It kills the positional value conversation if you're comparing a running back to a tight end in this scenario, and Villan is much, much better as a prospect than Meyer is. So it would make a lot of sense, in my opinion. 2 years, I think, says Mark Aaron. Brian, by the way, says, not in the first round, talking about a tight end. The last time that we drafted a tight end in the first was 1997. Villan Robinson. All right, trivia question, because I was reading into this earlier today. Trivia question, improvised trivia question, and then we'll get out of here. Who is that tight end? The Cowboys, the last time that they drafted a guy at a tight end in the first round was indeed in 1997. Who was it? Let's see if you... Hey, no Googling. No Googling. Do not cheat right now. Do not cheat. Man, of course, Brian has it because he actually had already mentioned it in the chat. But Russell coming in the clutch on Facebook. I'm going to wait to say the name a little bit until somebody gets it on YouTube. Toxic Tom over at YouTube. David LaFleur. David LaFleur. That is right. That is right. Tyler Browning says, I was 2 Mao, you were negative 11. But all kidding aside, what was I? I was negative 2 because I'm from 1999. So, yeah, I was not burned for that. I was not around for that. Maybe it isn't even a trivia question. Maybe everyone knows it. Maybe I'm just too young. But, man, he was a bust. Well, I was looking over at his PFR website, did some reading. Injury-plagued career. And since then, the Cowboys have not drafted a first-round tight end. Man, I was reading his Wikipedia page because Wikipedia is unlike any other site in the world, man. You literally anyone can write in there, so you know you're getting the best possible information out there. Man, The Office is so funny. But that was a tough Wikipedia page to get through. Just one injury after another injury after another injury, and then back injuries to knee injuries. So it was a tough go at it for David LaFleur. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for me tonight here on the show. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you guys enjoyed the Index Cards show. It was fun for me. It was definitely fun for me. I appreciate every one of you. Do me a favor and hit the like button. Share the stream if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Let your friends know about Primetime. And as always, remember that Primetime is brought to you by our friends over at freemanmazda.net. Go check them out. Go check out the Ride of the Week. That way, I can get more index card segments for you here on the show. We might have to put together a sponsored segment for the index cards, I guess. Shout out to Tyler. Shout out to Russell, Inez, Toxic Tom as well. Bo basically saying that this is an HBO special. Shout out to Katharina as well. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Nos vemos el día de mañana, jueves. Adiós.